All right, I guess he's gone again. So anyways, yeah. So yeah, with the increased functionality, our plan is to create, like I said, like the real onboarding process, and then get some coursework going, and then we have plans for some live stream sessions as well. We'll talk more about that as we get along here. But
what's up, guys?
Hey, Ray, what's happening?
Good morning.
Morning.
Happy Saturday.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. Just wrapping up a little breakfast. How you guys doing today?
I've been good. Had an early meeting with governance, not governance live, the Catalyst Alliance.
Oh yeah, this morning.
Yeah. So that they have their meetings at 1400 UTC, and then they also have the Swarm meeting, which is actually going on right now. So they have the regular Saturday meeting same time as ours.
That's right. I watched their introductory video that they did. I actually liked it. That Swarm introduction video where they're presenting the idea of Swarm and the presenting the idea of Catalyst Alliance is very it felt very grounded and alive with people who actually care about the ecosystem and are trying to do something more for it because they align with the vision. So this is the kind of energy that this community needs, and that SPOCRA is going to be aligning with, and we are actually aligning with them already. And this is also really very close to SPOCRA's mission, right? The whole impetus for SPOCRA, and by the way, the video, our SPOCRA video is in the make. I saw Jamie's first draft of it last night. It's really cool. She does amazing work. So we're about halfway through the process. We should have something done in about a week.
Okay.
But it's really cool. It introduces where SPOCRA came from, which is actually right from Charles's mouth, really. And how the community, gathered around it so quickly, and you get to see all of our faces and stuff. So that's really the whole point of SPOCRA is to have a place we can all come together and bring a funnel to a point and have that point be very striking, very impactful, right? Have it be something that actually drives influence that represents the community that stands behind SPOCRA in this case. There are a lot of initiatives, and we need it because, look at what's happened in the last, month or two? Like actually just say 3 months, community has exploded. Yeah. There are so many new people here in this community now. It's incredible. Like carpool, right? Like all these awesome new faces. And it's really something. And so we're really fortunate that we've been driving this momentum with SPOCRA for as long as we have. And we're organizing so that we can have the funnel, we can have the influence where and when we need it. Because what's happening right now with Catalyst Alliance, with Governance Alive, just to give you guys a quick wrap on it, they have been contracted by IOG to start forming decision-making circles that are based on consent, right? So consent is not the thing, just to kind of give some clarity around what consent actually is in a decision-making process. Consent isn't everybody agrees on the same thing in the same way. That's not what consent is. Consent is we all agree that the next step moving forward is best made in this way, and that there are better ways and that they are more steps. But our next step, according to the consent of the circle making the decision, is this, right? And so they have a really interesting process for getting that to happen, so that people actually feel like they're on a team. They actually feel like they understand and know each other enough to trust that they're making a step together. That's what the process does. It's really a container where you feel like you're heard, seen, understood, and part of the decision-making process. And it's something they've been working on for quite a while, actually. They have quite a background with it. And they have all these other inputs too, this Swarm and Alliance, and all these different people coming together to do all of this. So we're really excited about it. It's very much in alignment with what SPOCRA's mission is, and it always has been from the very beginning. You know, we're also keeping tabs, right? We're looking at how they organize, how they come in, how they present themselves, and all that kind of thing. One of the things that happens when a community gets so big so fast is there's always going to be those malicious actors, those scammers, those people who are coming in and, like, you know, they don't have the best intentions for the community as a whole. They're really just there for themselves. So, you know, we're always looking out for that as well. And I think that's part of our job.
A little.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, Governance Alive, I think there's value in having a third party outside of, like, I mean, they're part of the Cardano community, but then at the same time, they're also like this like third party that doesn't have the same like agenda and initiatives that a lot of the active participants in the ecosystem do have. So there's value in having that more objective view on what's going on. And then also, I mean, they have, like, collectively, they have a lot of experience in organizing people and bringing people together and creating these containers so that we can have these discussions and come to decisions as a community with consent, like Ray was saying.
Yep. That's what we've seen so far, and, you know, and it's not perfect. We're also seeing that part of what's new for Governance Alive is dealing with the large decentralized community like Cardano. That's new, right? That's actually new for a lot of organizations that are trying to assist ecosystems like us in coming to a place of self-governance. Right. So there's a lot of experiment here. There's a lot of cutting edge going on. And that's why it's really important that all hands are on deck. All of you guys here who show up for these meetings, who take an interest in what we do and who want to have a voice in all of this, we're here really to take you guys to a place of influence. That's really what our job as SPOCRA is. So it's really important that we understand what you need and what you want, which means I can stop talking now so I can hear what you guys are doing and up to.
Right. And just also to emphasize the point that Ray made, like, we're here to represent the voices that want to be represented by SPOCRA. We're not here as, like, some people I've seen say, like, that we're here to represent all SPOs, and that's not the case. We're here to represent whoever wants to be represented and take that input from everyone that's here and push it forward to a point where it actually is an impactful voice. So with that being said, just based on that little introduction and that synopsis of what's been happening lately, does anyone have anything they'd like to say? I see Loris is back. Hey, Loris.
Hey, Loris. He's on the road.
I'll just introduce myself, I suppose. My name is Fletcher.
Hey, yeah, so
Oregon.
they switch actually to 3G, you know, to get some kind of internet.
Hey,
Hi,
Loris.
Loris. Nice to put a face to the name. I finally made it. It's really interesting to hear what this is about. I guess I'm obviously being the first. I appreciate the introduction, and I think I still have a bit more of hearing you out to kind of have it congeal what it means. I guess the support that you're talking about, I love the sense of community, which is immediately what drew me to Cardano. I guess that's a fair start. We'll share more as we go.
Yeah, thank you.
If there's anything you might
Cool.
Thanks for saying hi.
Yeah.
Totally. And even in the way that you know, the SPO, depending on the kind of monitoring systems they have, the way we kind of babysit and look after the pool, right? Are we making our slots? Are we always checking for leadership? How are we doing with where things are with our metrics? And as Goguen comes, you know, we can see that the CPU and the RAM utilization is steadily going up, right? So we have to change our infrastructure literally. So being an SPO also means it's about being flexible with infrastructure. Right, we can't be too rigid because there's so many change, so much add. As soon as that smart contract layer lights up, man, it's the TPS and the databases and everything is going to move fast. It's going to grow quickly.
It will just explode. Yeah.
Yeah. So all hands on deck. That's really what's so cool about such a huge decentralized community like this, right? Is resilient. We're resilient. We have so many skill pools coming together here. You know, we have IT professionals, marketing professionals, we have humanists, we have scientists, engineers, we have doctors.
Pilot.
It seems like all of it. You know what I mean? Like it really is a global community, all races, all colors, all backgrounds. And you know, and we're, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be other communities that might call us cultish, in a sense. And I think really what that comes from, honestly, is it comes from the focus that we have on the manifestation of the vision of the project, right? Because there's so much focus and drive to actually do what we're here to do. It can look that way. And then we have, you know, we have a leadership kind of role that Charles is holding for us too at the top end. But I think the way, and I see it on crypto Twitter, Cardano is really continuously is setting itself up to look at price action as a side effect of purpose, right? A lot, especially the stake pool operators, look at that pledge. That pledge is a commitment to infrastructure, right? It's a really nice savings account, but at the end of the day, it's going to be there for a really long time. And so I think when the network sees that and it sees what that means and what devotion starts to look like at a professional level, that really helps keep the community very strong. I think that the whole idea of pledge and the way that that matters is very interesting, in how it supports the psyche of the ecosystem in terms of the committed stake that's here.
I think you're right about that, Ray. Like from an outside perspective, it can seem kind of cultish, but I think what we're doing is we're building like these new base layers of how we're going to interact like on a world platform, like where like there are no borders and we can just like, hey, I'm working on this, you're working on this, let's collaborate. And that's truly awesome. And I think one thing we do have to keep in mind as we move forward is like it's awesome that we're all like so gung-ho and it seems like we're on like a similar wavelength of what we're trying to do. Like we have to keep in mind like how do we build this so that it's going to be around for generations, so that like your children, my child can like benefit from what we're building right now. So like that's something that I'm still keeping in like in my mind as we're moving forward.
Yeah. And, you know, and after seeing that, hey, Kyle, thanks for jumping in, man. We're just introducing each other and saying hi to everybody. We got a few new faces here.
Going on, Kyle?
Okay, cool. Hey guys, I don't have a terrible amount of time today, but I'm in Puerto Rico. I'm heading home today. So are we doing board meeting after this? I probably might have some time to jump on that.
Yeah, definitely gonna do board meeting.
Yes, we are.
Okay, I'll let you guys proceed. Thanks everybody for showing up who took the time to show up.
Yeah, man. Thanks for bringing in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it's wild.
I bet. Yeah, it's jungle out there, bro. It's tropical.
Your background looks like Puerto Rico.
He's definitely ready, man. Check it out. He's got the hat and everything.
Yeah, thanks for showing your face, Kyle. Show us some of that jungle if you can. I don't know what he's doing. Okay.
I'm in San Juan now. Sorry, I'm heading out. So I'm at Lantanao.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah, Puerto Rico's on the radar now, huh? Taxes, crypto taxes.
I'm moving here. I've decided.
So how's your Spanish then?
Say what? Oh, hey, Loris.
How is your Spanish? Yeah, hey. Yeah, so as I said last time I was in Puerto Rico, nobody speaks English.
They do, though. They do. Yeah, they speak English there.
Well, they do.
Come on,
I've gotten by just fine. I speak Spanish just fine.
I was going into shops and I was like finger pointing in the shops, like what I want.
No, man.
So I could speak Latvian there, so no issues, you know.
Yeah.
I know Puerto Ricans are almost like There's so many different ways to describe them. I actually have a little bit of Puerto Rican blood. My father's
Hey,
mother.
guys, y'all gonna get my ass kicked if y'all fucking keep saying that walking around. I got you on speakerphone.
I don't know about those Puerto Ricans, man.
Shut the fuck up, man.
Have you seen any of their like hopping cars and all the crazy stuff they do?
Oh man, like 1 out of every 4 cars has a severe body damage defect to it. So when you're driving down here, they all drive crazy, but by day 3, everybody's honking at me. I got this down.
Yeah, it's better than India, I'm sure, man. I remember being there. That is unbelievable. It's the level of chaos in traffic it's amazing to see it actually go anywhere. And how they work together.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Just
Yeah, I just
okay,
like.
Kyle. See you in on board meeting.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see you at the board meeting, man.
All right, do your thing. I'm just gonna listen in for a little while.
Okay. So what else do we want to talk about, Ron? I know you had a nice list of things that we wanted to go over.
So first, you've already touched on some of it, how we've been interacting with Governance Alive. So for those of you that came a little bit later and may not know, Governance Alive is a third-party organization that has been working towards like their ideas of like decentralized government, basically. And they reached out to IOG, and then they've actually they have a contract to put together a council that would be basically what they're calling a catalyst circle, like, which is 7 to 12 members from the Cardano community. And this is purely experimental at this point. So it's they have a contract to work on 2 SIPs. We think that one would be like minimum fees. They're not 100% sure, and we're not 100% sure what it's going to be yet. But at this point, IOG is trying to take it a little more slowly than so when they contacted us, we're like, yeah, this aligns with what we're trying to do. Like, we've been trying to put together like a community consensus layer so that we can agree on protocol parameter changes before they're actually implemented, so that the community understands it and that we're for it before it gets implemented. And so that's basically what they've been contracted to do. But at this point, when we tried to push forward to have like a public open conversation about it, there are some members of IOG that found out, and they're like, hold up, we're not ready for that yet. Like, it's going to blow up. We're trying to make sure that this is going to be rolled out in a good way, so that we don't, because they have their ideas of how they want to do it. So we'd rather take a step back and say, okay, yeah, let's do this the way that we should do it correctly, so that we don't like make this a failure before it actually gets out the gate. So that's basically, like, in a nutshell, like where we're at right now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, we are continuing from our end as well. It's not like we are just stopping there. So of course we are interacting with other, communities, and basically, also trying to not set up another, circle of that, but basically are trying to figure out how it should work, and also, what kind of communities you have around, because there's a lot of communities actually, and different types of communities with different targets, with different approaches, but basically there are actually all of them are, stable operators. So therefore, it a little bit overlaps in, with other communities, which are like the Catalyst Alliance. So it's, we are working together, to find a solution, because I think in the long run, it will, the community will start to organize by itself, and we are starting it now. So, and there will be third party, which basically could be government clients, which will be helping or guiding or giving, some kind of advice, how to make decisions in that kind of an environment. So that's, I think, where I see, government clients as a big, help. But same time, for government clients, it's really hard to understand how the community works, and that's why I think that the community should come together and decide who we want to see actually on that kind of decision-making circle, or whatever it will be called. So, and then government alliance should be somebody who just helps us to set some standards how to make decisions and so on. I don't know if you can hear me because it's super loud because it's super rainy now.
No, I can hear you. It's doing a good
Get them.
job of filtering that rain out, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But yeah, so I think we are working, of course, government clients. We thought this like more like a fast track, because it's great that HK is also thinking that there should be some kind of approach and helping to get the community involved in this. So that's super good sign from their side. But yeah, so it looks like they are also a little bit holding back, like, okay, we are going too fast. The community is like, okay, let's go, we can do it. And I think yeah, I don't know, let's see if we can, if we are there actually, but it's still
But at the same time, we do want to be a little careful with how we go about this, because we want to have that good engagement with IOG.
Yeah, of course.
Because like they're
the
engineering
is also from community. Yeah,
right.
IHK is also one part of this community. It's like a important part, and I see that we are like involving and helping them for the next steps, and they are giving some kind of tasks for the community, which they can share now. But it will take slowly. It's not like 1 month's time. It's actually a really longer period of time before community is actually ready to take this responsibility.
Right. Yeah, that's what that was the learning lesson of this last round. I noticed for myself, I was excited because I felt like we had our hands on an arrow and we were going to make a target. And there was this anxious feeling that we needed to make this target. We needed to be a part of the decision that changes something so important. We need to show the centralized decision makers still, right? We're a decentralized community as far as our state operations go and the way that we make blocks, but the development and the governance is still very much centralized, because then that's what's starting to come out now. And so I know from speaking for my own self, I realized in the process the sense of urgency that I was feeling. And what the process did is it pushed back on that. And it said, bring the energy, but the circle needs to be bigger. We need to organize better so that this isn't just a pool of opinion chaos, I call it, right? Opinion chaos. How do we get all those opinions to actually drive a factor, an influence? So one of the best ways, I'm using this visualization a lot because it helps me to understand what's happening, is, if we look at this large global community as an organism, we're seeing it as an ecosystem. And so from the perspective of the organism is made up of organs, right? All these components that make it possible to run properly. Inside of the organs, you have tissues that are suborganized, and then sub to that are cells that come together to form those tissues. So where we're at right now is very much at the cellular level. And you can see organizations like IOG, CF, SPOCRA, Catalyst Alliance. Those are the stem cells that start to drive the proliferation of smaller cell bodies that become part of the organ, that becomes part of the ecosystem. So we're starting to find who our other cells are that are contributing to this organ that is part of the ecosystem, right? Because there's the developer organ, there's the alliance governance organ, right? There's all these different aspects that make this whole thing work. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it and starting to visualize it in terms of how it evolves and grows over time.
You're 100% right there, Ray. And actually, one of the consequences of meeting with Governance Alive was us being introduced to several other groups and kind of becoming part of them. So like the Catalyst Alliance, I had heard of them like just in conversation, but I didn't really know what they were about. Like when I heard Catalyst, I thought, oh, like they must be involved with like the Catalyst funds, and they were. And initially, what they were formed for was just a bunch of different really involved activists within the Catalyst community like CAs and people that had different funds and projects going. They came together to form this because they saw that there were some projects that were getting funded over others, and they wanted to solve a problem of, okay, how do all these really great people get the funds that they need so that we can actually get some like concrete things going that we want to see within the community, where right now the Catalyst funds, there's some inefficiencies, things that need to be improved, but this idea was actually already dropped from the initial concept. Is how they described it to me, was they were basically just going to come together and ask for like a big portion of the fund, and then just use that within the Catalyst Alliance. But then they're just kind of like this big monopoly basically that can like sway like it's almost like a big lobby group, and then like they just control like a big portion of the funds, and like if you're in that group, then you can benefit from that, but if you're not, then so they decided they don't want to go that route, but I do like what they're trying to do, which is just bring together all these different like groups like SPOCRA and WADA, and there are some other alliances within their groups that they've been reaching out to, like different geographical groups, things like that, and just get like an insight into like what these different groups are working on. And it's the alliance is more of just like a big platform where groups from all over the place can come together, and it's like a collaborative environment where people can present problems, and then different groups can say, hey, we're working on that, or like a group can say like, I'd love to work on that, or we've already worked on this, we've done this so far, like let's get together. So it's just like this, it's a community that, or it's like a big space where like we actually have a sense of community, where right now we don't really have that. Like we have communities, but they're fragmented a little bit. Like, so like I've heard of these other communities, but I don't really know what they're doing, and I don't have the time to like jump into another Discord, another Telegram channel, and like dig through it all to figure out what they're doing. It's like, this is like that open space, basically. That's basically what Governance Alive has been trying to push, is open space. So it's kind of like Catalyst Alliance is like, they're like a big advertisement for like, we need an open space. So for those of you that don't know what open space is, it's basically a software platform that brings together all these different Zoom meetings, so that you can have like one big discussion on something, and then if there's like particular individuals or groups that want to take that discussion and refine it like in another room, they can go in another room and then come back to like the big discussion. And that's basically what Governance Alive has been proposing for their Cardano community, so that we can start these discussions and come to decision points.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's it. It's creating, the best way to look at it is just imagine a funnel that is coming into a circle that comes to a center. And that center is the change. It is what we all work with together. Whether that be a min fee or a no min fee, or a pledge factor change, a curve benefit, a software change. At some point, that is the center of a circle that was formed by a funnel, right? So that's really, that's all it is. And the energy that goes into it. I think what's also going to be happening here as time goes on with SPOCRA is the organization that SPOCRA is kind of basically be sifting through the chaos to an extent, and helping to make that circle happen so that the decision happens more easily. So we're like the point of one of the arrows, right? That's coming together from all these different voices.
One of the groups within the overall community or alliance. Like, so
Yeah.
they were referring to SPOCRA quite a bit in this meeting, when they were, because a lot of people had questions, like myself included, like, what is the alliance? What are we doing here? Why are we all gathered? Like, if we already have the Catalyst funds and this, like, why do we come together to create this new group? And so like we were trying to discover that as a group together, and then they kept like saying like, oh well, SPOCRA like is here because they're acting as a voice for SPOs, and they're here to help educate and provide a need that's present in the community. So like they're kind of the experts on that. So like Catalyst Alliance isn't here to solve all the problems. We're just here to like gather the groups that are needed so that we can like point to like, okay, that group over there has a solution for what problem you have. Like go talk to them, or if you don't agree with them, you can start your own group or whatever. But that's kind of like what I got out of it. And like for SPOCRA, I think that like, yes, we are a focused group. We're not trying to be the end all be all. And yes, you're right. Like we're not like the end of the funnel, but we're one of like those arrows that are pointing to like that funnel.
Yes, very strong one. As strong as possible, right? We want the bandwidth and the girth to be as big as it can be, but still have integrity, right? And still have its point and its impact. So that really ends up just being bandwidth, right? Are we going to be a 56K line, or are we going to be a nice fiber optic bundle, right? We're going to be somewhere between that. In the spectrum of where of being able to feed information and come to consent, right? That's really what we're doing.
I'd like to ask a question, if that's all right. As I'm understanding a bit more, is there has a mission statement sort of been written, or if you can tell me, say it again, I might need to hear it a few times just as I understand more of the information that you all are sharing, because this is, I mean, I've only kind of dabbled in the scope of what you're saying as I'm newer to the whole ecosystem. The mission of SPOCRA, what makes it sort of that specialized as the cells, you know, as you described in that, and now that allegory for the specialization of the cells inside this organelle or inside the organ,
Right.
What is that sort of mission driven purpose? But then I get there's still also behind the point of the spear, there's still also a bit of a breadth and piece, but what is if you could say it again for me, because I'm sure you already kind of said it, just maybe it didn't stick.
You know, it's interesting, it evolves. We do have a mission statement. I actually, Ron, can you pull that up? I'd like to read from that actually.
Might pull it up. I was just gonna say it from my memory, but pull it up.
Hey guys, while you're pulling that up, I'd like to maybe just share my thoughts on, you know, what I heard. Sorry I couldn't participate. I was eating lunch with my friend. You know, if you ask my mom, she'll always tell you I've always had a problem with regiment. I don't play well in other people's sandboxes, right? And at least boxes that are cut out for me. And so what I think we need to do is, everything you guys said is right. Let's work and let's be the pillars of the community that we've come to be and do what we've got to do. But I also think we need to start taking control. And, you know, an idea popped into my head, and I think, you know, this could possibly solve a lot of problems. And I'm thinking like maybe we should just do something on the calendar every Friday where we live stream. You know, certain time every Friday we run it for a certain time. Not everybody's got 10, and we just come together and we talk and shoot the shit. We don't need an open spaces container. We can have an open Zoom where people can jump in and we can have real conversations. And then anybody watching YouTube can chat and ask questions if they don't want to jump in. That's been very effective. And we don't necessarily need to be put in a container, and we don't necessarily need to tie a specific agenda to it. But what it can be is a representation of us coming together, publicly hanging out, talking about this shit in the open so everybody knows what's going on, because we're not doing a good job of leaving a digital footprint of what's happening organically. We're really not, you know, as far as for others to follow. They've all got to come to meetings, and they've all have to be updated again and again, and shit changes, and it's dynamic. And somebody from the other side of the world who's just coming up to speed on Cardano may find great value in consuming 30 hours of content. Now they know what's going on and they can come ready for war, you know? And so I think that'll make all of us stronger. It'll bring the whole community together, because we'll have people from Felix's side, you know, the CA side, and anybody who's got a vested interest in pushing this mission forward can come together. So that's what I was thinking. All right, I'm done.
Hey,
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. And I think that no matter whatever container we do create, there will always be another sandbox where like we could come together. But hold on, like the way that I see the container is like almost like creating an API so that we can interface with IOG like directly, instead of like these like outside groups, like we're like, you have this outside group and we all come together and decide we want to do something. Then we can go into this like API and say, okay, here's all the input and feedback that we've distilled through our community groups, and we want this. So and this is like the way that like when you're dealing with like IoT, it's like, how do you deal with them directly? Like if you try to get them to come into like our sandbox, they're gonna be like everyone's just gonna be like throwing their opinions, and they're not gonna, that's not gonna be an effective communication format for them. So like, how do you create this so that we can engage effectively? And that's what I think like these containers that are being set up. I don't like the idea of a container either, but it's like, how do you do it so that you can have these entities come together? And especially like a wild community.
No, that makes sense as far. Yeah, as far as bottleneck and funneling, but what I'm talking about is something bigger, because at some point, and this is the reality, guys, either we're going to be handed the keys or we're going to have to take the keys. It's simple. That's how it's going to go down, right? And so we need to be prepared for either situation. And by us having an open dialogue, that's a mechanism of influence. You know, if we build this as Cardano is growing and people can come and watch what's happening in Cardano governance, and it's not just a SPOCRA thing, right? This is people who are hiding in the governance chats can come on and we can talk, because a lot of people eat, sleep, and breathe this, and they want a place to share their frustrations. Right now, it's all happening in private rooms and private chats. I'm not saying that we do this to blow this up or in a bad way, but we start to do this in a way that's very productive for the community. Right? Like we just come and we just start talking about stuff. Like there's no agenda to start.
I think
it's just us coming. All right. Okay, guys, I'm driving. I'm out, or I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah, I think of course it's a good idea to have like some kind of platform where people can jump in and discuss. The usual issue is, of course, you know, when there are too many people who want to discuss at one point, it's like getting a mess. So I would prefer that there are at least, you know, some topics which we discuss, and then there's an open mic, which, you know, we planned also before VGA. So basically, okay, so every time we prepare some kind of agenda and we discuss it, and then there's an open mic, you know, and we can discuss all other stuff. So therefore, you know, it's not just, you know, messy, you know, shouting and so on. So that's how I see it. But yeah, I would, you know, I think people need some kind of platform to get information, and also, you know, show their concern, what's going on, what's happening, and yeah, so they're heard.
So to answer Fletcher's question, I'll go back and I'll read our mission statement as it's written. And as Ray pointed out, it has evolved over time, and I'm sure it will. I think the core principles will remain, but it could evolve. They could expand. So I'll just read this as it is. The mission of SPOCRA is establishing a trade guild to represent and support stake pool operators in order to maintain a healthy, secure, and decentralized Cardano network infrastructure and ecosystem. And SPOCRA primarily provides educational content and certification to those members who demonstrate required knowledge and skills for sufficiently setting up and running a stake pool operation securely.
So my comment of this, of course, yeah.
Go ahead.
So the comment is that, of course, we are starting at one point, and we understand as SPOCRA that, you know, stake pool operators are the backbone of you know, successful and secure network. Without that, you know, we don't have later on anything. So it's like, you know, the top priority. And from our side, I think I already discussed before that, you know, and all the other groups are also basically stake pool operators. So actually, you know, we are like having the same audience as other groups, but we are more specific now, concerned about, you know, the security and the backbone of Cardano. But later on, I see that, of course, you know, we'll involve in also in other areas. But, you know, let's start step by step.
Sorry, that's my mother-in-law checking on me. She's like, "Hey, you haven't finished your breakfast yet." I'm like, "Oh, it's a good meeting. I can't eat right now."
Yeah.
So to go along with what Loris was saying, like we definitely see stake pool operators as a backbone of the network, and we don't want to see like those big organizations coming in and just like pushing out all the individuals. We want to. So when we say maintain a decentralized network and ecosystem, we mean like make it viable so that individuals like us can keep our businesses going, and we don't have like these bigger groups coming in and like owning larger and larger portions and just squeezing us out. So how do we make that happen?
Basically, yeah.
Go ahead.
So basically organizing smaller stakeholder operators, individual stakeholder operators in one group so we can, have a voice. And that's very important because, individually, there are a lot of small stakeholder operators and we are organizing together, to protect them and also, voice, help them to, communicate in some structured manner.
Yeah, because just having a voice on Twitter is just like your voice is just going into the ether. You might get some traction, but like when we come together as like an entity, like that's a force that like IOG can't ignore. And we're gonna be a big force like once like we've organized in a way that we can engage with them.
We already are a force. So we already showed our force. Yeah, we have already, showed that the community is, our, let's say, the community's voice is very important. And, we already had like one voting on blockchain. So the first voting, which was quite successful, and IHK implemented some changes there, and based on that. And yeah, so government alliance also, I think, is another thing. So where we see that, if we come together and push it as an organization, there will be a reaction.
100%.
Yes. It's really cool. And like Kyle said, it's almost like there are two spaces we're holding. One is something that funnels to a point. The other one is the space it holds as a non-agenda, so that we can, because we're a backbone, the only way for the backbone to survive is for it to remain flexible and fluid. And the only way for that to happen is if we have knowledge, and knowledge is coming from people's input. So if we have too much of an agenda, we're not going to hear that important knowledge. It's going to keep the backbone flexible in a situation, and otherwise we would have been stiff. We could break, right? So that's why those two pieces are there for us, so that we can stay flexible but still be strong enough to be a backbone. So it's having agenda and also not. It's really interesting. It's like a dual sort of perspective. There's agenda for influence, so that we can take control and have the keys in our hand when we need them. But also, what are those keys going to be, right? Where are we going to put that into, and what ignition are we in? So those are the two pieces and the two spaces that I think we're holding here. Yeah,
I'd echo that because there definitely was a lot of iterations of the mission. I think we had a lot of ideas of what we want SPOCRA to do, and I think we will do them, but we had to condense the mission statement down to like what's just the core, because it can kind of get diluted like Ray was saying, like if we have too much of an agenda, then we're not listening to like the outside, and then we're not like bringing in like the new knowledge and information that we need.
Well, let's not forget why we're here. Our core principle is to defend the network, to protect, and secure the network, right? And these types of governance decisions are right in that purview. So, I mean, that's why we're here.
Yeah,
because those actually, I totally agree with Scott. So, and that's actually this, as we are discussing, this is the backbone. So anyway, everything which will be, regarding Cardano, it will influence stakeholder operators, and they'll be part of it. And therefore, if we, start with the core things, which most important things, and build block by block, and it's built on solid foundations, all other things will be, somehow touching this, and it will be easier for us, to how to say, reach farther, and also, tackle more global issues in Cardano infrastructure or community or whatever. So, but we have to start with some, the base and stakeholder operators and the security of the network, and technology, and people, some kind of technical skill level is important. We understand that.
Yeah, I like what you wrote, Fletcher.
Yeah, I was just reading that too.
Yeah. And it feels good to hear you say that, honestly, because that's a reflection, right? It's like you're learning about this, and to see that kind of clarity right now, that feels good. So thank you for that reflection.
So to go back to what Kyle was saying about having live stream sessions, that's actually the next thing that we're working on. So in addition to like what Kyle was saying, just kind of have like that open sandbox for people to come in and we just discuss like the most recent topics in the ecosystem and like how we can get involved. We're also going to be putting out some live stream sessions that are more like workshops, so that we can like increase the skills and go beyond just like the basic guides that are kind of out there right now. So that's something that we're probably, I don't know if we picked a day yet, but possibly Wednesdays. So we're gonna have was it Wednesday?
I think so.
Yeah, Wednesdays. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Wednesdays. So we'll,
And also,
Yeah, maybe.
and
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
sorry,
Is that what we're talking about for these live streams? Wednesdays?
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to have a Friday session, just to,
Yeah,
like,
man. I was thinking Friday so we could turn it up, man. You know?
so
I'm saying, in addition
yeah,
to
so
the turn up
yeah,
session.
so Kyle, on Wednesdays we are planning to have recorded some kind of training, basically some discussions on specific topics, and this what you are discussing, it's more on public and overall discussions, whatever we decide.
Same page.
But the question is, isn't our public meetings already covering that? Because we have an agenda, and usually we are having also discussions afterwards, all about other topics.
I think for a duration, what we can do is do Wednesday meetings to do technical deep dives so we can address some of our content deliverables. So let's at least run them for 4 consecutive weeks in a month, or every other week for 2 months or whatever, something like that. And then that way we can kind of filter through and maybe address some of our topics and our content deliverables in those. And then at the end of that time frame, we can kind of see what's left or whatever, or as we're planning it, we'll understand what we may need to contract out to fill that.
Yep. So, and we can move, if you want, we can move the public meetings, to Friday and have these kind of discussions. As I said, one small part of structured one, and then, open mic. But do you think Fridays are better one? People are, especially in summer, they're busy with family life. So, and Wednesdays, so Wednesdays, as I said, currently we're planning to have these guided some kind of specific content videos, which will be live streamed, and also people can join. But these are specific for our reaching our learning, teaching goals or manual goals, which we need for the technical part. And for me, it works quite good, on Saturdays. It's fine. These timings I think are quite good. So far it worked, so we can maybe switch it to these public meetings with structure plus open mic. I'm fine with that as well.
Cool. Yeah. Who wants to see a little sample of the video?
I do.
Did you recover that one, or this is a new one?
Well, this is a new one, so we're working on it still, and we're just bringing all of our content together. So yeah, let me show you what we have so far. Can you make it possible? Can I share a screen, Ron?
I think so.
Okay, just remind me to check with you, Ron, which email addresses did you put for hosts, because
Board.
It didn't work out.
Yeah, it's board.
Board at SPOCRA.
Okay, but
Just board.
I think you also added an extra host, as in we bought 3 seats. No?
Yes. Yeah. There's three seats. Yes.
Okay. Let's discuss on the board meeting.
Okay.
Just.
All right, cool. I make sure your sound's up. Obviously, you're hearing us.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
Can you share now? I think I made it possible for you to share.
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay.
I see it now. I see it now. This is screen 4 and share sound.
What we do as scientists and engineers is we worry about the technology and we worry about the science. But then there's also this business of staking where it has to be profitable. And there's a business ecosystem that needs to be built out. Okay, so for the business of staking, the stake pool operators need to work with us, the foundation, and other actors, and we need to start thinking about unifying standards and lobbying for what SPOs need. Okay, so a natural evolution from where we are at here, where do we go from here, are things like a trade guild, where basically groups of SPOs, they band together to create standards, collectively bargain, think about things. Every single endeavor in life has a trade association.
So welcome. We've just been discussing the whirlwind that has been the last 24 hours and all of the work that we've got accomplished on SPOCRA is what we're calling it. Temporarily.
You got to take me through this acronym.
All right, Kyle, that's all you.
Stake pool operators, representation. No. What the hell is it?
It's perfect.
Okay. Stake pool operator collective representation assembly. There you
There
go.
we go. SPOCRA.
SPOCRA.
You got Spock with raw.
All right, that's what we have so far. There's more, but that's closer to what it's going to be. So I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good. So what, are you sharing something else?
No, that's it for now.
Okay, cool. Okay, good. Okay, guys, I have to go because in 5 minutes we have a board meeting, so I have to just go see what my family is doing there, and I'll be back on the board meeting.
Okay.
For everyone else, super thanks. It's always nice to see some new faces, and looking forward to see you on our next meetings.
Likewise,
Great,
yeah.
thanks.
Really fun to see these new faces here, guys. I really appreciate you showing up and being curious about what we're doing. And just remember that your curiosity can lead to whatever creativity you have, in whatever way you see yourself being a part of this, right? Your voice really does matter. We're here for it.
I got to bounce, guys.
All right, Kyle.
Okay, Kyle.
Good to see you,
Okay,
man.
everyone. See you soon.
Thank you all.
Stay strong.
See you, Loris.
So
See you
it's to make sure you feel that welcome. Use the tool that we've been putting together, the Mighty Network tool. Use that as much as possible. I think as time goes on, there'll be there's subgroups that you can create within that, interests, events, all kinds of stuff. So it's like any other community, right? The people who show up in the beginning are the ones that help it grow. So we really appreciate the interest.
What is that that you just referenced? The Mighty what?
The Mighty Network. So when you go to SPOCRA.io and you join the network, that platform is called Mighty Network. It's the tool set. It's like an online tool set that allows this sort of collaboration to happen.
Awesome. Okay.
So like what Ray
Thank
was
you.
saying, if people have different groups, like subgroups that they want to form within the Mighty Network of SPOCRA, like they can reach out to us and then we can set those up. And then just like, again, the SPOCRA Mighty Network, where you see like all the stuff on the side where you can create guides and training courses and have your own like events, like meetings and such. You can do all that within like a subgroup within SPOCRA. So it's pretty powerful. Like when you think of it like as a network effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really has a cool network effect. It's one of the reasons we chose the tool. Awesome.
Yeah. And in my particular case, I'm also excited that this is like one of the first groups, at least that I've seen, where you're coming together and it's visual. It's like immediate, and I like the mission. So I'm gonna keep on coming.
Right on. Thanks, Christian. Yeah, I've been seeing your face here more and more often.
Yeah, I tried to make it last week, but something happened with the meetings last week, so I just.
That's what I was saying. We got a new Zoom account, so I had to delete the old meetings, and then I put out the new one. I don't think everyone got it, so I
Yeah.
apologize about that.
No problem. Yeah. Cool. All right. See you guys for now.
All right. We'll see you guys
Yeah.
next week.
Adios. Bye-bye.
Aloha.